Broadsword calling Danny Boy.
Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another game of interplanetary I Spy going on here. There's so much to see here. I'll try and keep this one a bit shorter than my last video, which was a bit too long. I'll try not to ramble on too much this time. I'll keep it at reasonable length. Right, okay. The link will be in the video and the description, as always, for this page. You can some of you can probably see that up here if you're watching in full HD, which you should be. If not, you can always get it from the link below, so no worries about that. The main part we are concentrating on is at the top again, between this part of Mount Sharp here and this other end here over to the right. We're going to completely ignore the foreground. I've covered that in many videos. We're just going to concentrate on the mountain in the background. Right, let's get straight on with it. No time to muck about here. Right, let's get on with it straight away. There's a lot to see here. Now, some of these things like the submarine. Here's the submarine that was in the previous video, or one of the previous videos. This is really cool. I'm so interested by this. I'll just show you again, just to refresh your memory. Here he is. There's the submarine, and it even has a propeller here. And if I use the sharpen tool on it, which I've done a little bit on this superstructure here, just to bring out some of this contouring. If I sharpen that up, you can really see it there. There's the sort of shape of it. I found another similar ship to the right of this, or left, maybe to the left actually, to the left of this, which also has a propeller. I'll show you that in a minute. But I just thought I'd show you what that propeller looks like before I show the other stuff, because there seems to be a similar shaped propeller to the other ship, which seems logical, I suppose, really. Right, let's just leave that where it was. If you want to see more on the submarine, go to the previous video or two, and it's covered in those. I will put, at the end of this video, I will put all the new clips, these at the top here, there's quite a few, all the new clips, I will put it right at the end of the video, and then get it nice and close so you can see all the detail, and you can freeze frame it, do what you like, you can pause it, whatever. Now, I'm going to make a start. Now, the part we're going to start with is this particular section here. Now, I'm going to go from left to right, and I'm going to try and talk you through each thing there is. There's some of these things look like ships, some of them look like aeroplanes, some of them like boats or navy vessels, barges. There's all sorts of stuff up here. There's even odd bits, buildings, and there's some of it I can't even make out. I've got a feeling this big lump here could well be a massive sort of ship of some sort, but actually it's hard to get your head around, because I think it's so much of it's buried that there's not enough of the superstructure there to actually make out. But there's some odd stuff going on in here, as I will show you in a minute. Right, we'll start with this one. Now, this one, if you look at the luminosity of it, is very much brighter than the actual hillside here, as is this one here, this long one here. And there's another one over here, which is much brighter here, you can see it. And there's another one here. And they go all the way along. We've covered this boat and this UFO thing here before, and this building in the previous videos. So we're just going to do these to start with over here on the left. I'll talk you through them. There's also some weird thing up here, some weird shaped object here. I don't know what that is. I might click that out in a second for you. It may be nothing. Now, the first one, I thought, oh, could that be an aeroplane? Don't know. Here's the clip of it. It's just an interesting shape. Now, I did sharpen it up around here. You can see where I've sharpened it. So going close. I thought there may be some sort of cockpit here or something, or it could be a plane, the pointy end of an aircraft. But actually, on second visit to that part of the image, I don't think it's much. At least not from this angle. If we were further round the mountain to the left here, I think that would be a different story altogether. I think that is something interesting. But from this angle, I can't get much out of it. So we'll leave that where it was. Move straight on to the next one. This was cool. Now this one is just here. If you can see, if I pull this up here a minute. Now you can see that this thing is much lighter in luminosity to the rest of this up here. This thing here. and it's got like a cockpit area, like front of an aeroplane here, and a sort of weird tail thing that goes right back here in a sort of curve. Very strange. Now this may be an aeroplane, it may be a spaceship, it may be some sort of navy underwater submarine sort of thing. Looks like something off some kind of sci-fi movie. What I've done is I've drawn around it, as I usually do, with the selection tool, just carefully drawn around the shape of it, and then sharpened it right up, softened it, up the contrast, softened it, sharpened it again, and so on. You've really got to squeeze the stuff out of this. And you can see I didn't grayscale it first, so that's why you've got this green coming out here. I should have grayscaled it before I started up playing with it really. Now this to me looks very much like some sort of ship, and this is the cockpit area here. You can see this smoother area and what looks like a sort of a possible window. This could be glass or something. There seems to be a hole in it here where it's damaged. Getting closer, there seems to be a hole there. This is the nose section here. It looks actually like it may be hollowed out here, or actually broken off. I've got a feeling that this was actually more pointed, and the front end is actually snapped off. So we're looking inside the nose of it here. That's actually inside it, and the nose is broken off. It would have been more of a sort of nice point to it there. Only a theory, don't know, can't prove it of course. So yeah, this what can I say? It looks like some crazy spaceship, really. That's all I can really call it. I'll sharpen that up a little bit more just to show you some of that detail around the edges here. Now you should really be watching this in full HD to get any sense of what I'm doing here. See, there's a definitely, even if you sharpen this middle bit here, it's a lot smoother. Even when you sharpen it up, it doesn't really get any more detail. So the details around the edge of this, what looks like a cockpit here. So there's obviously a border between the glass and the metallic material or whatever it is, and obviously it's shown it's got some damage. It could have been here millions of years, could have been here 50 years, we don't know, as I said in the other videos. Right, let's move on. That's an interesting one, very different from anything else I've found. The actual design, obviously a lot of this may be buried. We're only seeing the top. There may well have been a tail part sticking up here at the back, which is broken off. It looks like it's broken. I suspect there was. And there's probably some of it buried underneath here, who knows. But a lot of it is just lying there, much like many of the anomalies around here. Like I said before, this must have been a naval base or military base of some sort. This whole area, right along here, is absolutely littered with ships, submarines and aircraft, and a few boats and barges and things thrown in, and a few buildings. There's probably a lot more here that I haven't found yet. I've found around about 20 or 25 things so far, and there may be many more, but there's so many together here. I really can't stress this enough. There is so much stuff here. A lot of it's overlapping, a lot of it's buried, a lot of it's very badly damaged, and I think this is yet more evidence of a war on Mars, because in the previous, I think the first video I did on this particular area, I mentioned this over here on the right, which looks to me, I thought were footprints. See these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's a whole row of these what look like footprints going down to the river bed here at the bottom, the blue section. And it just dawned on me today, as I woke up this morning, I thought, they cannot possibly be footprints, because they're 20 or 30 meters across each, or 20 or 30 feet, I don't know exactly. This is about a mile away. It occurred to me that if this is a military base and there is a hut here, like a bomb shelter, these could be bomb craters, and a huge aircraft could have flown above this crater and dropped a whole set of bombs, which all landed in a nice neat pattern all the way down this ledge here, because they were trying to hit the military base, which is just behind it. That is a possible explanation for these strange prints in the rock here. And if you look at them quite closely, they kind of look like the bomb craters where bits are kind of blown outwards, as if there was an explosion here. So that does kind of fit this pattern that I'm seeing here. So not only do we have possible bomb craters, we have a shelter here, and you'll have to go to see this little building here. This has even got a door and a window to it. To see that in more detail, you'll have to go back to the previous video or a couple of videos before to see that. We're not covering that today, so if you want to see more on that, I'd suggest you go back. But now I do think those are bomb craters. They're not footprints, they're far too big. They're not symmetrical structures, but they are evenly spaced. So maybe they are. And this would explain what I'm looking at here and what we're looking at. Okay, let's get on with this. There's a lot to cover. Right, next thing along to, or just below this one we just looked at, which was that one. There's something weird below it. Now I really cannot figure out what this is, because it seems to be largely buried, but there's some kind of boat structure or ship structure here. I mean, I really don't know. This is so odd, and it seems to be quite badly contorted as well. There looks to be some sort of superstructure here, and some sort of part of a boat or something, some kind of ship here. I really couldn't tell you what it is, because I have no idea, but it looks really odd. Let's go to the larger image here and I'll show you it in its full size. There we go. Now, all I've done is darken this right up and up the contrast. Now you can see it's a different colour to the rest of it. It's greener, and there seems to be a strange semicircular thing here coming round, and there's sort of a boat shape here, which is kind of going into the side of the mountain here, and there's all sorts of weird stuff going on. I really don't know. I'll quickly sharpen that for you anyway, just to make it a little bit more obvious. There's clearly some sort of structure going on here. I don't know what it is, so we won't spend too much time on that because I haven't figured it out. One of you might have a better idea, but this may be partly buried. This whole thing here could have been, it's kind of slumped down onto it. There's this thing up, the ship thing above here, which is kind of sitting behind it. So it's really, really hard to tell what that is. I think it could be another ship, and we're seeing sort of one end of it, and there's a strange superstructure here, like almost like a pair of horns or something sticking out. I mean, they could be wings or something, or who knows? I have no idea. So we won't spend too long on that, so I don't have a clue what that is. If I figure it out, I'll make another video, and we'll post an update underneath this one if I figure out what that is. We'll move straight on. Some nice ones over here. Now I did touch on these in the previous video, but I didn't actually clip them out for you. There's one right here. See that nice point here? Like a dart, a nice sort of pointy aircraft nose there, and a nice curve along the back. Far too nice, that curve, to be natural, if you ask me. That looks like a high, an aerodynamic design. It's so nicely designed, as a lot of these things are. Now some of these things are quite badly damaged. Some of them are half buried. Most of them are half buried, actually. And there we go, there's the clip. I've just drawn around it carefully. Started at the front, went round, underneath. Now this may or may not, here underneath this part here, may or may not be part of a sort of delta wing configuration. I don't know. It may or may not be. So this may not be anything to do with it, but it does seem kind of joined. This could be like an engine here. This strange structure here. I mean, look at that. And this could be sort of part of a jet engine or part of the wing sticking out here, pointed. There's probably a lot more underneath this area, in this black area here. It's a strange wing configuration, but actually it does kind of match up with some other stuff that I've found and stuff that I've been sent by some of my informants. I'll show you what I'm on about here very, very quickly. There is a spaceship somewhere here. Where is he? Which has a sort of delta wing configuration, but the wings are pointing forwards, not backwards. So we have aircraft here on Earth where the wings sort of go out towards the tail of the plane, but actually it looks like the Martians had a completely different way of doing this. Now I can't find it. Okay, never mind. I'll put a clip at the end, and I'll come back to that. I'll put that right at the end of the video. We haven't got time to be searching through all that now. Okay, but yes, basically I do think that a lot of the Martian aircraft have a reversed delta wing configuration, which basically means the wings point forwards and not backwards. There are aircraft on Earth that do this. Not many, but there are quite a few that do. It's a design that was experimented with, but never really took hold as the main sort of design for an aeroplane's wing configuration. So that's not unheard of on Earth even, so, you know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But this was cool. I mean, and if you look closely, now I sharpened around here, there looks like to be a cockpit window here, and a little one just up here, like a little triangular one here. Obviously this is showing signs of damage, and also we're getting a bit of pixelation here from, because it's quite a long way off. As with all this stuff, it's well over a mile. It's probably almost 2 kilometers. I don't know exactly how far. So all this stuff is big. I couldn't tell you exactly how long that is, but let's have a look at the mountain. I mean, it's up here. I've got a blacked out version of it here. It's just here. Now this is over a mile. It's about a mile away, approximately. And for it to appear that long a mile away, it must be quite long. I'm guessing this is about 80 or 100 meters long or something like in that ballpark. The same as similar length to this. Now this is longer. So who knows? I will try and put some measurements on in the description if I can work it out. I'll come back to that later. Anyway, you'll see all these right at the end of the video. I'll get nice and close. You can see the detail. This one particularly, I was really pleased with. I didn't think much of it to start with, but when I clipped it, this is over here. Where is he? It's further over to the right somewhere. I can't see it there. Let's get rid of that. It's probably easier to see in this one. Okay. Where is he? Oh god. There he is. This is him here. Right by the missing pixel. And to the right of the submarine, which is over here. There's the big submarine I showed you earlier. You just go to the right of him, and there we are. Below this bit. Okay. Here he is. Now, I've done the usual thing, drawn round it, grayscaled it, changed the colour, temperature of the central part here, sharpened it right up, blurred it, usual thing. And I've sharpened up what looks like a propeller on the end, which I think is another cool bit of detail here. And when you get it really close, you can see the propeller shape here, see? It's got 4 parts to it, not 3 like the other one. Although the other one I showed you on the submarine may have 4, I may have just not sharpened it very well. So you may want to try that yourself. You need to get in close, clip the image to a sort of 1280 by 720 or something like that. Enlarge it. I use a bilinear enlargement. I up the DPI from 200 to 2000 so that when you enlarge it, it actually cleans up the image. It actually gets rid of a lot of the grunge that they leave on it, and it means that you're not losing any information at all. So you may be enlarging the image, but actually you're increasing the amount of information in that photo. So it's really important if you do enlarge any of this stuff to up the DPI from 200 to 2000. It may seem excessive, but it's just easier to type in a 0 than it is to tap in some other number. You just add a 0 to the end. I'll show you how I do that. I'll just go to yeah, there we go. It's already at 1280 by 720, but you see I've got the pixels per inch at 2000. Now when you the raw image, when you get the raw image, that would be 200. So all we got to do is tap in an extra 0 here, and then bang, off you go. And then you can trim the image down to fit your video software. So I always trim it to 720, 1280, so it fits in nicely, and then you can actually convert it to full HD from there. Okay, enough about that. This looks to me some kind of submarine or some kind of boat, don't really know. It's got some kind of superstructure here. It's got a very, very straight line here. It's got a nice point to it at this end. It's got a nice tail. And it's got what looks like a propeller. What can I say? It's some kind of marine vessel. Whether it's a submarine vessel or just a normal ship, I have no idea. It's obviously lying on its side. It's listed over like most of these things have, because the water is gone, so nothing to support them. What can I say? It's a ship. There's another one here. Now this one isn't quite so far over. This one's just here. The next one we're going to show you. Okay, that's this little one here. And this looks small, but actually it's still pretty big. This is still probably something like 50 meters long, maybe 80 or even 100. Much the same size as this one here, what I've just showed you. Not a great deal of detail here, but it does have a superstructure on top of it, like some kind of citadel structure there. This could be very badly damaged, and it seems to have kind of been slumped in a sort of tilted position, like a lot of these are, tilted towards us on its side. Whether this is the front and that's the back, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But it does seem to have an interesting bit of structure here. Not gonna blow your mind, that one, but interesting nonetheless. It's just another one of many similar things on this mountainside. Okay, so I won't spend too long on that because there's not a great deal to see in that one. Now this is where it gets complicated. I'll try and talk you through this without stumbling if I can. Now, once you get past all this that I've just showed you, now we've gone through these. Now we're moving to this area here, this long patch here. Okay, so this is sort of the next similar size section here. Right. Now, when you get in close here, there's so much here. I've been staring at this for days and I still can't figure out some of it. There are so many anomalies here, overlapping anomalies in different layers, that even when you enhance it, it's really, really hard to get your head around all this stuff because it's so jumbled with boats and ships and aeroplanes and whatever. Even when you really darken it up the contrast like I've done here, we're looking at this area here, just here. Okay, so you have, there's that ship we just looked at, that's the one with the propeller, and in fact, you can see him here, look, and you can even see the propeller already, just there, like a little cross. But this hasn't been enlarged, this is just the raw image, the original size, it's just been darkened up, and the contrast up. I haven't done anything to this, hardly. But all these things are jumbled up. You've got one here, you've got some sort of structure here, you've got something strange in front of it, you've got the boat or the ship just there that we just looked at. There's a huge battleship here, an enormous thing, hundreds of meters long this one is. I'll just show you that quickly. If you want to see more about that, you'll have to go back to the previous video to see more on him. But he's there, he's not far from this submarine, just to the right of him. I don't have him here. Okay, you'll have to go back to the previous video to see the submarine, I'm afraid, because we're not actually concentrating on that today because we've already covered it. So you'll have to go back. Right. So yeah, where were we? Okay. Now here's the aeroplane. Here. Now even before you select anything and start enhancing individual parts, you can tell when you zoom in that this is much lighter than everything else around it. This particular object here. Much lighter. It's the luminosity is completely different to the surrounding so-called hills or mountain. So let's have a look at that now, because that one's pretty cool. Here he is. Here's the clip. All I've done again, drawn around him again. It's getting close. Drawn around him again. Change the colour temperature. Mucked around the contrast and brightness. I've sharpened it up. You can see where I've sharpened it a bit here. Softened it a bit as well, as usual. Same as before. Clearly a cockpit structure here. This dome-shaped part. There's the nose here of the aircraft. It looks like some sort of jet airplane. Not unlike some we have on Earth. Now the wings look like they're buried or twisted and broken. And this is obviously not in a brilliant condition. But it's clearly an aircraft shape, you know, it's got that nice point to it, and it's got a very large cockpit area, like a lot of these things do, and it's a delta wing. The wings coming out the back here, now they may go much further into the side of the mountain here, or buried in sand. This whole area could have once been completely buried in sand, and a few sandstorms could have, or winds could have blown the sand off. Things are just as likely to be uncovered by sand as they are covered up. Bear that in mind. As we know, in places like Egypt, certain things get uncovered or covered up for thousands of years. And if the wind changes or gets particularly bad in one direction for a while, then it'll uncover something. So that looks like an aircraft. What can I say? It looks like another delta wing jet. is quite big. I couldn't tell you exactly how big it is, but I will attempt to add some sizes, like I said, to the description. But these are all pretty big objects. To even show up at that distance, they're all pretty big, and I think even the smallest of these things is probably something like 30 meters long, which is about 100 foot. So you're talking a huge scale, some of this stuff. And bear in mind that the largest aircraft on Earth, passenger aircraft, are something like, I think the largest one is a Russian one, I think something like 82 meters long. Now, a lot of these things we're looking at here are much bigger than that. So that's just to give you an idea of scale there anyway. Okay, right, there's more to see here. Right, now we're moving further along here towards the right of the image. And we have, let's show you that one first. I'm getting a bit lost here, I've got so much stuff. There's that weird structure, let's get rid of him, we don't want him. Now, this is getting complicated now, because, yeah, because you have so many of these things overlapping and behind each other, it's getting very, very difficult to tell what the hell's going on here. Now, this is what was in the first video in this series. Part 1 was the UFO shaped thing. Now actually, I've come back to it. Let me show you the original video. Okay, it's this one here, part 1, which is the Mars Hughes crashed UFO stroke ship. Now in this video, it does go into some detail about this thing here, and I actually thought that this front section was on its own. I actually thought it was just like a little saucer shaped thing, like a sort of diamond shape here, but actually I've been reworking this whole image and it looks like it's joined up to a much larger ship or aircraft. Now I could be wrong with some of this stuff, because there's so much stuff overlapping here, it's almost impossible to work out what you're looking at half the time. So this is why I've drawn around this one and done it a different colour to this one here on the right, because if you do it all in the same colour, you just get lost, because it's all kind of overlapping, and it's like a graveyard, an aircraft graveyard or a ship graveyard or something like that. It looks like Pearl Harbor or something, you know. If you imagine Pearl Harbor after it got hit in World War II, or beginning of World War II for some of you, it's like that, but without the water. So if you imagine Pearl Harbor and you drain all the water out, and you got sort of like a sort of dockside here. I mean, this whole mountain, I really do think, is a military base, at least this end of it anyway. That's the only thing that could explain what we're looking at. There's probably a runway on top of it where the aircraft were. They probably slipped down the slope here, and the ships were further down already, and when the water dried up, they just got left behind. So we're seeing a real mixture. So I can't stress that enough when you look at this stuff. I mean, there's another one up here. Look at this one up here. There's a boat, another ship or something, and there's a great big long thing here. I can't figure out what that is. It may just be rock, but there seems to be some sort of intelligent design in here. These strange diagonal lines, and there's all sorts of weird stuff going on. But yeah, this looks like two aircraft. This is the cockpit area for one. It even looks like there's like a guy sat in here with an arm here, and a head, and a leg coming over, and some kind of handlebars here. Here's a sort of the central column, steering column, and a pair of handlebars like a steering console, that like you would get in an airplane. I could be wrong. This may just be a seat here. This little round blob. I mean, this is a long way away. So if this is a seat, it's enormous. So whoever flew this thing, or whatever flew this thing, would have been huge. I mean, unless I've got the scale completely wrong, and I really don't think I'm not far off with the scale. I'm not far off. This is massive. This is really, really huge. So we're looking at some sort of huge jet kind of craft here, and what looks like some kind of other sort of fighter type or bomber jet here, with a sort of delta wing configuration here. Now, this is also half buried over here, so it's hard to tell exactly what's going on. But this looks like a front end here, this green one, with a sort of weird sort of nose section here, and it seems to have some sort of large air intake. Now this may be broken off. This may have been a lot more pointed here, which it probably was. It looks a bit like it's broken off. There's some weird detail going on here and bits sticking out, like it's been torn off or crashed or taken a nosedive at least. So this was probably pointed and came out in a nice kind of point like that, a bit like this here. So what we're looking at here is an aeroplane with a delta wing aircraft here with the nose missing, and it's just kind of led next to this one. It may even be part of the same aircraft. Some of this stuff looks like it carries on through. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. I've been staring at this thing for hours and hours and hours, and it's mind-bogglingly hard to get your head around. I know quite a lot about aircraft. I've got many books on airplanes, but we're dealing with alien aircraft here, and they obviously do conform to certain design restrictions that we do here on Earth also, but the designs aren't quite the same, and the scale is much bigger by the looks of it. So you've really got to take that into account when you're looking at this stuff. You've got to think out of the box. You've got to throw away a lot of the crap you were told at school, because most of that was rubbish when it comes to life on other planets and stuff. Utter nonsense we were taught when we were kids. So you've really, if you're not an open-minded person, you really should not be on this channel. You should not be watching this video. You've got to be open-minded and a free-thinking person. Okay, because there's so much stuff here, and the only way I can explain it is like a big, huge graveyard of ships and aeroplanes. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So yes, I'll put more on that in the end of the video. I'll stick that at the end, and I'll show the other edits of it as well, so you can see how I got to that, because that is a complicated bit of kit there. And here's one other edit I've done. Now this is exactly the same area. You can see here now. I think this is better. It's got the same. We've got the same front end of this thing. This is the same object. I've a bit more carefully drawn around this one, and I've only selected the front end of it because I actually think this is kind of only one end of a jet plane of some sort, whereas here it kind of goes all the way back here. I actually think there's 2 or 3 things here, and this is just the front end of it, and this may be part of the wing or part of the superstructure here as well. It kind of, see, it goes to show that sometimes you have to go back over something and do it again, because it's quite hard to interpret a lot of these shapes here, and you've really got to think in 3 dimensions and kind of work out what's in front of what and what's behind and stuff like that. But I've enhanced the thing at the top here, so you can see that. Now that look, and this shape is very obvious. Even in the raw image, you can see it. You can see this line under here, this kind of nice curve, and it goes up to here. And there's some kind of crazy detail going on here. There's some kind of superstructure to it. This may be one end of a ship. Could be an ass end of an airplane. Who knows? I really don't know. And this green, this sort of huge thing I've selected here at the top here, I've no idea what that is. That may just be part of the mountain, but there's some weird stuff going on in here. There's some weird structures. There's some interesting details, and what looks like there's a sort of an eye-shaped sort of structure here, and there's, I mean, it's mind-boggling. So I don't know what that is. I couldn't tell you, but it looks like it could be part of a huge ship or submarine or whatever. But it's so large I can't get my head around it. I can't actually picture what it is. So I may come back to that another day. I don't know. But I'm just kind of trying to get across here how many things there are overlapping, because here you've got another thing here which is actually just here. Here's the front end of it. You can just see it there. Now this part hasn't been enhanced much. It's just been darkened up and contrast. But you can see there's something interesting here, and there's a nice curve underneath that goes up here, and it looks like some sort of aircraft broken off. It could be part of this one in front. I could have completely misinterpreted it. I don't know. This may even be upside down, this particular section here. So this could be a wing section from something else completely different, or part of this. Who knows? Who knows? I really can't tell you, because I don't know. All I'm trying to say is there's so much stuff overlapping here. It's very hard to work out what you're looking at. Right, next one. this was weird. Now, this is really weird. They're going to like this. Now, this is further over to the right again. You should be able to find it by this hillside here. You can see the hill configuration there. I'll just see if I can find that particular part of the hill. It's further over. It must be up here. I think we're up here somewhere. Hang on. Where is it? God. Yeah, I think we're up here. Okay. Somewhere up here. No, anyway. Okay, it's on that hillside, just further along from the others, so they're all in a row. You'll find it. Now, there's two things here. Now, one of them looks like a massive jet aircraft. A bit like the Ukraine plan. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. There's a huge Russian jet that was built 20 or so, 30 years ago, which was basically a flying boat. It was the largest flying boat ever built, I think. And it had massive superstructure and huge wings and about 8 massive engines on it. And it was like a flying fortress type thing. It was designed to fly just about 100 foot above the sea, like a massive flying boat. I mean, it was an aeroplane, but it was kind of a boat thing, really. Maybe that's what we're looking at here. This thing at the top here is huge. This is absolutely enormous. It's around 200 meters long or something, something like that. And it's got an interesting structure here, and it's got what looks like the nose here, and it's got a cockpit here, and possibly another window here, and it's got an interesting, like an air intake valve here, perhaps, and another one here. Who knows? I mean, this looks to me like a spaceship or very, very large transport kind of, or military transport jet or bomber. Or it could be a bomber. It's that sort of scale. It's a huge, huge aircraft. It's bigger than a passenger liner, much, much bigger. It's like a B-52 sort of size, this thing. And we're just seeing the main hull or central section here. And it's got some interesting stuff going on. I mean, that's the front end. I mean, crazy, crazy stuff. Look at the window. This could have been a gun turret up here or something, perhaps, or another cabin or something. I can only say, really, it's a bit like a sort of flying fortress or a massive jet bomber. I mean, what else? I don't know. I really don't know what to say. And when I was drawing around this, there was a really blatantly square thing sticking out. Now you can even see that quite clearly on the raw image. So I haven't put that there. This thing was there from the start, and all I've done is I drew around it the first time, and then I drew around this other huge jet aircraft, whatever it is. There's this weird box on top of it. I have no idea what it is. Now, is this another jet underneath here? It looks like another cockpit area here with another nose. Quite clear, that. And some sort of strange dome on top of it here. Quite a large dome with a square structure here. This may be some sort of radar plane, with some sort of spy plane or something, with some sort of. And there could have been a gun sticking out of this, some anti-aircraft guns or something, or this could be. I don't know. It could be another huge cockpit or something, or maybe this is a. I don't know. All I can say is it's really, really strange, and look at it, and it's got a really clear dome structure with a box on top of it. What the hell is that? I really that's puzzling. If I think of anything else that it could be, I will put it in the description. And this looks like part of a wing down here, and this aircraft was probably much longer, and we're only seeing the sort of front half of it here. It's kind of broken off. And it looks like the sort of wing here, part of the wing. This may have also broken off. We're only seeing a section of it there. But if you look at the overall shape, it does kind of look like a jet fighter, but this thing is on a much, much bigger scale, as all these things are. They're absolutely huge, way, way bigger than anything we've got down here, as far as I know. So yeah, what is that down? This could even be another aircraft that kind of takes off on its own or something, like taking a piggyback on it or something. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But these are probably about bomber craft or something like that, and they have these like citadel structures on them as well, which could well be armed with guns. I mean, this was probably a gun turret on here or something. And this could be a huge gun turret. This could be carrying a massive gun or a laser or something. I mean, who knows? We have no idea what we're looking at here, really. Well, I'm just trying to make sense of it for you, but it's very, very hard. There's some more over here. Now, this was a little bit more mundane, this one. This is further along again on the same hillside. This looks like a boat at the top here, like or one end of an aircraft. There does seem to be a boat shape to it. This is kind of leaning slightly towards us. You've got a darker internal structure here, and some kind of structure here at the back. This may go on further, but I think it may have come down a bit to sort of here. I don't know. But this looks like a huge kind of boat, like a huge speedboat or something. And there's this thing here. Looks like another ship. Not really sure about this. This seems to be quite badly eroded, if you look right here. But it may actually come up to there, and this could be just sand coming up to it here at the front. But it does look like a ship, and it does seem to have some kind of superstructures going on here. Don't really know. Let's sharpen that up a little bit for you. So there does seem to be some kind of built, almost like a cabin or something on top of it here. Not too sure about this one, a little bit vague, but there is an interesting shape to the structure. And if you look here, there's some strange kind of there's like an X shape here. It's kind of strange symmetry to it. Now obviously this may be leaning towards us, could be leaning away from us, don't really know. Looks like it's leaning towards us like the rest of them. But I don't really know about that one, that's a bit ambiguous, not as good as some of the others. And there, finally, here's the last one, another double one here. This is further over again, along the same hillside, or mountainside. Now, there's multiple stuff going on here as well. I really struggle with this. At first I noticed this one at the bottom here. Now this may be a ship, don't know. If you look carefully here, there looks to be sort of like a cockpit area or a slightly hollowed out section or something. It seems a bit darker there. A bit hard to say, really. There's some interesting detail down at this end. There may be a propeller on this as well somewhere down here, or perhaps the other side even. A bit difficult with this one to tell what's really going on, but there does seem to be an interesting central part to it here, like an oval shape there, which so it may or may not be something. The thing behind it, I puzzled over for hours, and I thought there was just a ship here or something. This was slightly covered in the first video, because there's a sort of weird diagonal line here which caught my eye, and some very, very strange details in here, kind of twisted metal and stuff, you know. But when I looked at it again, I thought actually this is all kind of joined up to this, you know. It may not be completely, but there's something very odd going on here. Look at this structure here that kind of goes through. I mean, I don't know if you can really, let's darken that up a bit. Let's just darken it up, because sometimes you've really got to play with this stuff to get this stuff out. Like that, do it. Okay, there we go. Now, look at this. I mean, I may be wrong on this, but there's definitely some intelligent structure up here. This is certainly something interesting at this side here. This almost diamond-shaped thing. This is probably a ship on its side again, and there's some kind of ship or aircraft that looks badly damaged. There seems to be bits ripped out here. This has been hit by the looks of it. This looks like it's been hit by a bomb or a missile or something. There's some big holes in this superstructure here. But yeah, this looks like it was part of something, and we're only seeing sort of one end of it, half buried perhaps. This looks like it's been hit. I mean, what can I say? And all this twisted material here and up here on this one, it looks to me like it's been bombed. It's been hit in a military strike. And as I said before, I didn't know what this was in the first video. These patches here, these light patches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's a whole row of them that go all the way down to the riverside here. All I can say is that they must be craters, bomb craters. because they're very evenly spaced and they've got that kind of look about them, where things looks like something's exploded and things have kind of shot out of it. You know, they're just that kind of shape. I mean, look at them. They're not particularly deep, but if this is a rock, if this is bedrock here, which it probably is, and these bombs went off on bedrock, then they wouldn't have penetrated very far. So who knows? Who knows? That's what they look like to me. And if this is a military base, and I'm pretty sure it is now. Now I found so much stuff here. Like, you know, you've got submarines, you've got this weird thing which was in the last video. This is so cool. Looks like some kind of transformer looking spaceship type thing with a cockpit here and these spikes and a kind of reticulated shape that probably curved up into a ball like a armadillo type thing. Or I mean, it's just crazy. There was a barge here which isn't that interesting. There's a barge. There's loads of boats and ships and aircraft all kind of lined up on the edge of this crater, on the edge of this mountain, Mount Sharp. This gives you an idea of where some of them are. But I have covered all these in the previous video. They're all around here, all along this ridge here, and they go right up here, up to this area. They sort of stop about here somewhere, but there's probably some more in here I haven't even seen. There's something there. Look, I mean, this hasn't been treated. There's another one. There's another one here. I've just spotted it, and there's something else here. I think I'm going to have to call it a day on this video because that's probably already too long. There may have to be a part 5 or 6. I don't know. There is so much here. Even when you look at it unprocessed, once you get over this milky haze over everything, there's loads of weird stuff in here. There's loads of structures, and a lot of them look like boats and buildings. And let's look at the darkened one again. Let's give you another idea of what it really looks like when you darken it up. Where is it? There we go. It's at the bottom. There we go. Now you really have to darken this up. There's tons and tons of stuff, and some of it is much brighter, like this one, like I showed you earlier. This is the battleship, which is in the previous video. That's huge. This thing here is multi-layered. It's got a citadel here, multiple layers. But I'm finding more and more, and the weird thing is, when I look back at my own videos that I've just made in full HD, I'm seeing more stuff that I missed, because there's so much here. I really cannot get that across enough. There's so much here, and there's more up this end. I haven't started on this section yet. I've only got I'm about 2/3 of the way over here. I'm up to about here now, and I haven't done this final slope here, this bit here. So there could well be more up here. More boats, more aircraft, more ships, more buildings. That seems artificial. Look at the point there. Let's just quickly darken that up and have another. Let's go in a bit darker. That looks interesting. Let's sharpen it up a bit just for now. Yeah, there's something there. There is definitely a superstructure there, which is really odd. Look at this bit here and coming down here, joined onto this pointy bit here. This could be another ship. Could be another submarine. Could be another aircraft. Don't know yet. I've really had to do some close work on that and really stare at it for a day. There's some more stuff up here as well. I mean, it's everywhere, absolutely everywhere. All this stuff, absolutely crazy. What can I say? Thank you for watching, everyone. I will put these clips in a minute so you can see them in closer up, and you can pause and have a really good look, because there's some pretty good detail on some of this stuff. There's propellers and there's cockpits and turrets and all sorts of weird stuff going on here. Great detail on some of it. Even a cockpit with a guy in it, you know, perhaps. You know, what can I say? Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that wasn't too long. I'll see you soon.